My 32F and my husband Ryan, 34M, have been married for 6 years. For context, my mom died when I was 16. She wasn't just my mother, she was my best friend. My dad worked long hours, and for most of my childhood it felt like it was just the two of us against the world. When she passed away from cancer, it absolutely shattered me. There aren't many physical things I have left of hers. A few photo albums, some jewelry, a handful of handwritten birthday cards, and her wedding dress. The dress had been carefully preserved by my grandmother for years. It wasn't particularly expensive or designer. It was just special because it was hers. Ever since I got engaged, I knew I wanted to incorporate it into my wedding somehow. The original dress was very 1980s, huge sleeves, giant bow, lots of lace. Not really my style. So I hired a seamstress who specialized in heirloom redesigns. The plan was to transform my mother's gown into something modern while keeping pieces of the original fabric, lace, and beadwork. The result was beautiful. I cried the first time I saw it. My grandmother cried. Even my dad cried. It felt like a piece of my mom would be there with me on my wedding day. Ryan loved it too. The only person who didn't was my future mother-in-law, Linda. Linda and I never had a good relationship. She wasn't openly hostile. She was the kind of person who always had plausible deniability. Every insult was disguised as concern. Every criticism was framed as advice. Every cruel comment came with a smile. She constantly compared me to Ryan's ex-girlfriend. She criticized my career. She questioned whether I was traditional enough. She once told me she was worried I would be too focused on work to give Ryan a proper family. Whenever I got upset, she'd claim I was being sensitive. Ryan saw some of it, but not all. A lot happened when he wasn't around. The dress became a weird fixation for her. The first time she saw it, she frowned. Then she said, "It's a shame your wedding has become a memorial service." I remember standing there stunned. My grandmother immediately snapped back and told her that was inappropriate. Linda laughed and said she'd only meant that brides should focus on the future rather than the past. I should have recognized that comment as a warning sign. Over the following months, she kept bringing up the dress. She'd ask why I wasn't wearing something from Ryan's family. She suggested incorporating lace from her own wedding gown instead. She repeatedly made comments about how the wedding seemed centered around my family history rather than joining a new one. At one point, she even asked whether people would spend the whole ceremony talking about my deceased mother. It was weird, really weird, but I ignored it. I was focused on planning the wedding. About 3 weeks before the ceremony, disaster struck. The dress was being stored at my grandmother's house. One afternoon, I got a call from her. I still remember hearing her crying before she could even speak. Someone had ruined the dress. Apparently a pipe had leaked in a storage room, water damage, mold, staining. The dress was destroyed. I rushed over immediately. The damage was horrific. The fabric was discolored. Large sections were unusable. Months of work were gone. More importantly, my mother's dress was gone. I completely broke down. The wedding was only weeks away. There wasn't enough time to save it. My seamstress tried her best, but she said the damage was beyond repair. I ended up buying another dress. It was pretty. Everyone said it looked beautiful. I hated it. Every time I looked at wedding photos afterward, I thought about the dress that should have been there. The whole situation felt cruel and unfair. Still, accidents happen. At least that's what everyone believed, including me. Fast forward 5 years. Ryan's cousin got divorced. During the divorce, a lot of family secrets started surfacing. People were drinking at a family gathering and gossiping. At one point, Ryan's cousin's ex-wife pulled me aside. She looked uncomfortable. Then she asked if I ever found out the truth about my wedding dress. I had no idea what she was talking about. She told me that years earlier she'd overheard Linda talking to another relative. According to her, Linda admitted she'd ruined the dress herself. I laughed, because it sounded insane. Then she repeated exactly what she'd heard. Linda had apparently said she couldn't stand seeing my mother's dress at the wedding. She felt like everyone was treating my mother as some kind of saint. She hated how much attention the dress was receiving, and she believed I was entering Ryan's family while refusing to let go of my own. According to the cousin's ex-wife, Linda specifically said, "Someone had to do something. That dress wasn't healthy." I honestly felt sick. Ryan was furious when I told him. We confronted several relatives. To my shock, more people admitted they'd heard versions of the story over the years, not enough to prove anything, but enough that a pattern emerged. Apparently, Linda had made drunken comments more than once. She treated it like some kind of family secret. Finally, Ryan confronted his mother directly. At first, she denied everything. Then she changed her story, then she cried, then she admitted it, not immediately, not clearly, but enough. According to Linda, she'd gone to my grandmother's house to drop something off. She knew where the dress was being stored. She moved boxes around. She claimed she never intended to destroy it. She only wanted to make a point. She admitted she left a storage room window open during a rainstorm. She knew water would get in. She knew the dress could be damaged. She just didn't think it would be that bad. I remember sitting there unable to process what I was hearing. She destroyed the last meaningful thing I had from my mother. On purpose. Because she didn't like what it represented. Then came the part that made me lose any remaining sympathy. She wasn't sorry. Not really. Everything she said focused on herself. How excluded she felt. How emotional she was. How stressful wedding planning had been for her. How everyone always misunderstood her intentions. Not once did she acknowledge what she'd taken from me. Ryan asked her directly, "Would you do it again?" She didn't answer. That silence told me everything. After that conversation, I cut contact immediately. Completely. No visits, no calls, no holidays, nothing. Ryan remained in limited contact because she was still his mother, but he supported my decision. The rest of the family did not. Apparently my refusal to move on became a bigger issue than what she actually did. I was told she was elderly. I was told she was lonely. I was told she regretted it. I was told family is family. I was told holding onto anger wasn't healthy. Several relatives even suggested that because the damage happened years ago, it shouldn't matter anymore. One aunt actually said, "Well, your mother isn't coming back either way." I haven't spoken to her since. The pressure intensified when Linda developed health issues last year. Suddenly, everyone expected a reconciliation. Family members started calling, messaging, cornering us at gatherings. One cousin told me I'd regret it if Linda died before I forgave her. Another said I was punishing an old woman over a mistake. A mistake, not an accident, a deliberate choice. A mistake is dropping a plate. A mistake is forgetting a birthday. This woman intentionally destroyed one of the only remaining connections I had to my dead mother because she was jealous of a woman she'd never even met. Eventually, Ryan told everyone to stop. Instead, they shifted tactics. They began contacting him, telling him I was tearing the family apart, telling him he needed to convince me to be the bigger person. To his credit, he shut that down immediately. Then came the final straw. A few months ago, Linda requested a private meeting. Against my better judgment, I agreed. Part of me thought maybe she'd finally apologize. Maybe she'd finally understand. Instead, she spent nearly an hour explaining why she did it, not apologizing. Explaining. She talked about feeling overshadowed, feeling replaced, feeling like my mother's presence was everywhere during wedding planning. Then she said something I'll never forget. She looked me straight in the eye and said, "I was trying to help you move on." That was it. The moment whatever tiny chance of reconciliation remained disappeared, because she still believed she had the right to decide how I should grieve. She still believed her feelings justified what she'd done. I stood up, told her I hoped the explanation had made her feel better because it changed nothing for me. Then I left. That was 6 months ago. Since then, I've refused all further contact. Now the family is furious again because Linda's health is apparently declining. Everyone keeps telling me forgiveness is for myself. Maybe that's true. But forgiveness doesn't require reconciliation. And it certainly doesn't require pretending someone deserves access to my life after they intentionally destroyed something irreplaceable. So now half the family thinks I'm cruel. The other half thinks I'm justified. Ryan supports me completely. But after years of being told to get over it, I'm starting to wonder if I'm missing something. AITA for refusing to forgive my mother-in-law after discovering she intentionally destroyed the wedding dress made from my late mother's gown.